This took forever. I mean, it took so long. I just, I don't know. Okay, so I take so long with these. I mean, I love it. It's one of my favorite services because it allows me the most freedom. But I swear, I swear, I believe I should charge more with how much time and consideration to put into these. But maybe in the future. But so for now, um, so this is the fourth egg of the egg dot batch 37, and I have a lot of notes. I wrote them down so I could keep them in track. So the client originally ordered front, side, and back view, and that's kind of a new aspect I have with the service of having the side view. But I did extra. I did a head and an extra outfit. Oh yeah, and one of the outfits they wanted was lingerie. But anyway, so let's start. And they wanted, they didn't give too much of the vague client direction that's allowed, and that's they wanted her female, trans, and so male to female. And so with this, I'm gonna read off of my notes. I'm start from the from the sex change part. So the their sex reassignment is more smooth with their species as their body can adapt to new parts and even regrow. Like if you were to cut off something, um, and this character had their post-op, so they had uh, they had breast implants, secondary arms, the and a new vagina. So females of the species have four arms in total, and males only have two. And females are also they tend to be longer in body, and you could see soon. One of the things that may be added to the time was that I changed my mind about a design aspect. So at first you saw it in the beginning, I did have legs, but I thought, it doesn't really fit with the egg. And I was like, I haven't done a kind of no leg serpent type body, so I did. So I changed it to this. But because it took so long, I when I started this, I was at a tea shop, so I had to pause the video and leave. And during the pause, I realized, damn, it would be really cool. Cause I was missing one of the aspects of the eggs, and that was these like rib-like things that was coming out of the egg. And so I thought it would be really cool if like they had legs coming out. And so the idea is, they could either look like a serpent, if they put all their, if they like closed up all their openings, and they'll look like a serpent, or they could you see, uh I haven't decided to add the legs yet. It's like between, see, I went back adding the legs now. That added so much fucking time. Okay, me, I love it. It's one of my favorite services, the only ones where I could really completely absolutely enjoy. So I mean, not just enjoy just for the monetary gain, but I could enjoy for the creative and the freedom side. So it's like, so with the legs, and so the amount of legs vary from person to person, from each individual. And this character, oh, and I should mention the species, on average, they could live about 1,000 Earth years, and but on their world it's about 100. So and the older they get, the more they can open and flatten their body. So this character, she's about 500 years old. I'm going by Earth years. She's about 500 years old, and as they age, it, the older they are, the more legs they can pull from their body. Like, it's kind of like it makes me think of origami for some reason. But like when you cut up the little the people parade, like with the paper, and you make it connect, but it's just like one cut. And when you stretch it out, it looks like people holding hands. That's what it makes me think of. But anyway, so um, and their record for the legs, they she could do about 20 in total, but she only usually does only about 12, and that's because she's female mentally, and so their males, they tend to have a majority or all of their legs out all the time, and females tend to be more conservative with it. Like they'll only do at most half or so at any given time. I mean, they can do all. Usually, in extreme situations, like in a fight or something like that, they'll do all. But so anyway, and also the female, with the females having four arms. So this is a trans female, and let's go to the notes. And so with the so they could regrow their parts. I mentioned that, and they could absorb. Their body can easily like attach other body parts. So let's see. I had the notes here. uh oh. So where was I? Oh, the one can attach female arms and cocks. They can't add any new parts like legs. So anything above the waist, they could pretty much reattach just the arms and the genitals, but they can't add like legs. And so for the procedure for sex reassignment, there are two options. They could grow it from their own cells, which is the most expensive, or donate, or a pair who two people who want to transition can pair up and trade basically, and or just a donation from someone who may be a deceased or so, like put on. But usually it's paired with someone who's alive and transitioning as well. And this character did it with the cheaper option, which is the donation, and they paired up with their best friend, who so he now has her cock, and and this character also have hip implants, cause even though um, let's see, so the female and males are typically the same size. The females tend to be longer for pregnancy, and females tend to be more shapely. Uh, that's a throwback to the human, where humans tend to have more. Human females tend to have more hips, and so the character had hip implants, and they actually plan to do a waist slimming as well in the future. But that'll be the last procedure they do, and then they're finished and they're happy. So facial structure wise, males tend to have oval shapes, like how female humans tend to have less sharper facial structure, and but their males are like that, and their females tend to be a bit more square. And but this character, she was born with a female-ish um, shaped face, even though their body was still male like. So, but other than that, like from a human perspective, they probably wouldn't be able to tell which was which. And so, oh, where'd I go with that? um, okay, so with the time, knock off about 2 hours of procrastination, I think. Even while recording. But later, I kind of got better at stopping when I had to go somewhere and then starting again. But that was just for the past few days. So I've pretty much been working on this all weekend. Anyway, so as you saw, oh no, it's coming out. See, look at those fucking legs. And like so, with their bodies are more flexible than say the earth octopus, so they could fit through holes the size of a baseball, and they look open like that with the open holes because they can flatten their bodies like paper, and as I mentioned, as they get older, they get do even more. So the babies generally have a human baby look, and then puberty for them is when their humanoid legs, are able to become naga. And so as they get older, they wait, so as they get older, they tend to like have that ability manifests in on the different legs. So and so you could see with each view, I try to make it appear um, where part of it is uh, where part of their body is what's it uh, is completely whole, but they open it up at certain places. So, but I didn't depict them with their holes completely closed anywhere because I wanted to show their body at different with different parts as legs. So on the first view, you see they only had the three legs out of sorts, and with this one, you can see a bit more, like up to almost nine. And also with their hair, it only comes from their head and along their spine, and so it like grows from the bone-looking parts of their back. So it goes down to about middle of their back, and that too, there's no gender typical length it goes. So that's just up to the individual. Like some even end at the neck, and they're considered bald if they end at the neck. And so anyway, so going back to the um, so they you see yes the head just in time. So um, you could you could tell their emotion sometimes from their horns, and like it twitches, and it's not apprehensive. It still maintains its shape, but it just twitches, uh, and the level of twitching depends on each individual. Like some can even like make it twitch where it looks like it's kind of apprehensive, but this character has the average twitching, and you can see I was going back and forth trying to figure out exactly where exactly like because I had to go back and look at the front view to see where I made whatever note. And this character, either they got into a fight and so they lost their horns, on that one side, or they did it on purpose, but it'll grow back eventually. So probably she probably did it for fashion. She's into fashion, I think. My version of the character. See, that's the thing. Also with all these adopts and Cherokos, so even though um I still maintain the rights. I sometimes I do have my version of how the character themselves are, and but yeah, she's my version of her. She's into fashion, but anyway, and and sometimes like they could even still make the legs as an adult, but they can never be like human again. Um, like they can never appear fully human. So, but they can still make their legs come out in certain instances. Like if they're sitting, then they could make their legs come out if they want. Or sometimes if they're like hunting, they could hide the rest of the body, like somewhere, and then have their legs. But it takes like concentration and just to have the two legs. um, and it's a hassle. So usually most people don't really do it. Some are more gifted, so it's not too much of a big deal. But anyway, you can see in the head view, she has four eyes. So technically, they have four eyes, but the eyebrow ones they can't open. Like kind of like the human version of an appendix, where it's just a part of the body that just is there, but it's not used. So though with meditation and enlightenment, they can be opened, like the two eyes on the forehead, but on in their records, only four have achieved it, and only within a year before their death of old age. So, but that's just on record. There might be like one or two who've like achieved it in like middle age, but they don't. But they haven't let them it known. And so, but this character isn't one of them. One in a million uh, can open at least one of the eyebrow eyes. And in some of their cultures, such folk are worshipped, and like made priests are considered like special and divine, while in others it's just seen as a mutation. And I'm thinking she was maybe between um, she may have been part of one of the ones where it was worshipped, but one of the like extreme ones where they would have taken her away. Well, at the time, him away, but her parents didn't want them to be taken away from them, so they moved away, and so they went to like a city where the mutation is usually seen, where it's usually seen as a mutation, and but she did fine there. Um, and she's actually thankful of her parents because otherwise she would have been like basically made a prisoner. She would have been treated like royalty, but still she wouldn't have been allowed to go anywhere. Well, in the particular country she was in. So there are countries, like there are places where she could still be worshipped, but they'll let her travel, like the Pope or something like that. But they weren't in one of those. They were in the one of the countries where they're like kept there. So yeah, so at first this was gonna be an outfit. Like at the time, I made it to an outfit, and with the and I didn't realize until while I was in the middle of it that I was inspired by the South Asian, one of the South Asian ethnicity cultures with the with those the raps. um, I forget the terms they are, but they usually use like sheer fabric sometimes, and I so it's kind of inspired by that, and the rest was just a mix of a bunch of others um, things I've seen with fabric, or I just wanted the fabric like that. Sometimes I can't tell what is inspiring a certain piece. I just go with what I want to see, and I just go in my mind bank of everything I've seen and haven't seen yet, and mix and match. So and but later, you see, but I decided this outfit would be the lingerie because I thought, hey, it would be cool. Because usually my lingerie is like for sexy times, and it's like it's very simplified of sorts. But I was thinking, what if their culture saw lingerie as um, like considering their body can be open. What if they saw their lingerie as like the wraps? So you could like do stuff with the wraps and tie someone up or tie up their parts. And so that's why I was like, hey, yeah, that sounds cool. So that part is uh is the lingerie. And I also did an extra outfit because I was really late on the eggs, and thankfully this is the last one. I saved this one for last because it was the video, and I knew it would take forever because I did this once for another adopt, and that one wasn't ordered. It was just part of my when I first started the videos, and so I decided to record that one. It took forever, but this one took is the longest by far. And so what else about their species? Um, and and also, um, so part of what makes their transitions, their sexual reassignment, easy, besides the regrowth, is that so they could go a step further than what humans are possible at the moment. So this character, just happened to have money to go the full step, which is the full blood transfusion, and which makes the transition the smoothest possible. And because that tricks their body into switching, turning on a switch, flips a switch to grow its own ovaries, and so that too was part of the trade off with their partner, their transitioning partner, where they got their arms from, and who they gave their cock to. So so with so the full step is a full blood transfusion, which makes the transition smoothest and makes the body flip a switch, and so they could grow their own ovaries. And like you can't grow it like you could the arms for some reason. They haven't figured that part out yet. Cause with the ovaries, it involves a lot more delicate for the making the baby part. I mean, you can, but the ovaries wouldn't be working. So they're like, what's the point of having them if they're not working? So, but if you do the transfusion, the that female blood would gradually make their body think, switch over to being female fully. And so it'll grow the ovaries because it'll be like, hey, we're missing ovaries, and then it'll grow 'em. And so they could give birth, but they could only do half the typical litter size. And so I like the color I did with the little scarf there. But anyway, um, so anyway, they could typically have about 3 to 5 litters at once. And but for the trans females, they can only that go to the full and have the blood transfusion. They can only have about half the litter size. And so so whenever if ever she has kids, she'll probably only have just one or two, but most likely just one. And once you do the blood transfusion, you cannot reverse it. Uh, and it has been attempted a couple of times, but the volunteers they both died, and they haven't figured out why. There's like speculation, like it's just too much for like their body. Like their body doesn't like to flip flop, and it's just too much energy that's burning to compensate for the constant back and forth. So once is fine, but more than that, you're getting into nah, you'll be dead. So if they do the blood, if they don't do the blood, they can reverse it. So if she didn't do the transfusion, she could reverse it and go back to male. Like no breast, take out the breast implants, detach the arms, and put in a new cock. But that process takes twice as long to heal and it's more painful. So typically, once someone, typically the blood transfusion is like the point of no return, and only and even though it's the most expensive, most do that. Who are truly male and not just someone who's like looking for attention, um, or just got issues where they're not really trans, like those few, which is very rare, um, even for them. But it has happened a few times, crazy. People just looking for attention would do anything. And so, but for those who were truly female or male mentally, when they do the transition, they do go both. I mean, they do go the full step. Even though it's very, very expensive. But they have good health plans, thankfully, and it just takes time for most. Um, but usually it's mainly the rich who does the blood, or those who just happen to have like a sponsor, someone who's willing to cover them for it for whatever reason. And what else? Oh, I think that's all the notes I put. So so yeah, this character, her friend is I was thinking maybe her friend is like her best friend, and so he has her cock, and I think he's actually one who could open all four eyes, and but only she knows about it, and only yeah, only she knows about it at the moment. And oh yeah, and with the glowing insides, so with some they glow, they can like give off a soft glow. Um but usually their insides are just plain or not don't really glow. And so she has a semi-typical coloring. Her best friend, the male, the trans male, um, his coloring would be atypical. So, like not common at all. And so, God, this part took forever. Oh, and when it flicks like that, it's because I had pat, um, the canvas off the screen of the recording, and I accidentally leave it off, like to the side for some reason because I usually have something in the background, Like I play Netflix or something in the background on the side. I know it's background noise, yet I still need the visual right there. But anyway, so I was trying to speed up and like make it, cause it felt like it was just more work all the time with this one. Even though I'm cool with it, but it's like as long as it took to do this, it's worth at least twice as much as what I sold it for. So even with the extra, it's worth twice as much. Um, like even for me, it's like the details out there. I just I couldn't help, like with these I can't help myself because these are one of my favorite services, and if I could just have this, adopt charcoal and my tattooing and my comic, and just live off of that comfortably and still be able to save at least 400 a month, that I could put towards like some future traveling or something, then I'll be happy. Like that would be my dream. But until then, I'm a I'm a go over the top and accidentally spend a whole lot of more time. I swear it's not even a sketch anymore. It's still messy. It still could be cleaner. Like this isn't even as clean as I could be. Like when I'm clean, I am clean. Um, so but this is just that's why like you can even see the difference. Like with the streams and overnights, you could tell like sketchy. You could tell they're sketch for the most part. Sometimes they may appear clean, but that's only because I was so like the idea behind the piece was so sure. Like I didn't need to. It was just like the line path was just assured. Like I had all the confidence that that's where I wanted it, and there's probably some other shit that has to do with it. But yeah, this is the second outfit. I decided to give him like a kind of skirt, but I also don't really like giving skirts to like Naga. No, like just covering the top half. I don't really like that with Naga for some reason, because it just seems too easy and typical. So I changed. Here's you see, I changed my mind and I wanted to add something to it. So and I thought like the skirt thingy would be like little belts added. They'll automatically part of the skirt and they'll be to the side. Like even in on actual legs, that would be cute, wouldn't it? But it would have to be tight and form fitting. Like that would look good on someone with like some great hips. And here I am, finally done. So you see the head and the little horns that will grow back at some point for her. And here's her going out outfit where she's just hanging out with friends. And here's her lingerie trying to do it up for her man. And here are the front, side, and back view. So much work. I am happy with it, and I hope the client is happy. Thank you so very much. Bye.